So Nova's in development right now. We are, but I will say we're developing more than we make. This is part of the new Marvel. We should talk about this.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. Today we have some awesome news about the Nova series coming directly from Marvel Studios themselves. In fact, we got quite a bit of information about the Nova series, including that it's going to be an ensemble series. So we've recently learned a lot about Nova just today and what the series is going to be about, including how it's going to be a cosmic adventure. It was revealed today that Brad Winderbaum, the head of streaming, television, and animation at Marvel Studios, gave us quite a bit of information about what is happening right now with the Nova series and how it is actually going to be when and if it releases. But he has confirmed that it is officially in development. They've actually been working on it for a while now, and it does appear that he confirms a lot of other things in this most recent interview that he did with comicbook.com's Phase Zero podcast and former host Brandon Davis. And there's a lot to dive into. Of course, Nova's the main topic, but Brad Winderbaum also talks about how Marvel kind of put out fake leaks for Agatha all along, and he might have confirmed the title of the upcoming Vision series. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in. Now, if you missed it earlier this year in February when Brad Winderbaum was doing interviews for X-Men 97, right before it came out in March, the same outlet, comicbook.com, and the same host, Brandon Davis, talked to Brad Winderbaum and asked about Nova. He confirmed it was in development, but he also did say that Marvel Studios right now kind of has a new strategy where they are developing a lot. They are developing a lot of different projects at one time, but then he did say that not all of these projects were going to see the light of day. So basically, he confirmed that their strategy now is to make a ton of different projects and basically only choose the best ones to actually make it to either the big screen or Disney Plus. So he was kind of playing coy. He said, Nova is in development, but unless it's really good, unless it's kind of perfect, they're not going to go through with it. However, today, a follow-up interview was released and Brad Winderbaum basically did confirm that they are doing it. Brandon Davis interviewed Brad Winderbaum again, this time for the Agatha All Along series, but of course, he talked about Nova. Now, since it is an Agatha All Along interview, he obviously talked about that, and the one thing I do want to mention is that they talked about the title change. He said that it was always going to be Agatha All Along. At first, we viewed it as the title was changing. We had Agatha Coven of Chaos, Agatha House of Harkness, Darkhold Diaries. We had a lot of different titles, and Brad Winderbaum confirmed there was always just one title, Agatha All Along. Then somebody came out and said, we should come up with a bunch of different titles and mess with the audience. And they said the ideas were, well, we'll do it at first as a fake chairback, and then we'll do it as an official announcement. And basically, they trolled us. They themselves put out fake leaks, which is hilarious and is also something that they did with Deadpool and Wolverine. They confirmed that they specifically put out fake rumors about certain cameos going to be in the movie to surprise people and to shock people, and it worked. So that's just a fun tidbit, but then he said this about Nova. Brandon Davis says that Kevin Feige confirmed that Nova is going to be a show, and that is Brad Winderbaum's department. He is in charge of all the shows. And Brad instantly confirmed Nova is in development right now. However, immediately after that, he put a little disclaimer.
So Nova's in development right now. We are, but I will say we're developing more than we make. This is part of the new Marvel. We should talk about this.
So he says that they are developing more than they make, and that this is a part of the new Marvel, and that they should talk about this, and that is exactly what they do. And here's where he basically does confirm that Nova is one of those projects that is going to make it through. He is definitely trying to play coy here and not give a specific answer, but based off of what he says, he's pretty much hinting that Nova is a done deal. He even goes on to talk about the inspiration for the show and plot details. He continues to state everything has a spotlight on it with Marvel Studios, and they want to get everything right, which is of course the mentality that they should have. He says everybody gets super excited, and we, as in Marvel Studios, love Nova. So we want to get it right. So it's in development. We have a few things in development, and we are not going to go on a show until we are happy with the pilot happy with the Bible, referring to the script for each episode, the whole entire thing combined. But then he ends that sentence by stating, so it is in development right now. And again, I think he's just trying to play coy since they haven't officially announced the Phase 6 slate, and this might actually even come after Phase 6. It might come after the Multiverse Saga. However, I do think that Captain Marvel might be involved with this show. And this show coming out in Phase 6 before Avengers Doomsday, or at least before Secret Wars, could show us what Captain Marvel has been up to since the Marvels. Because Brad Winderbaum does go on to talk a little bit more about it and tell us what it's going to be like. Brandon Davis goes on to state that Nova is a cosmic character and that Marvel hasn't really touched on the cosmic side in Disney Plus yet. So he asks Brad Winderbaum how Disney Plus can approach this, how they can approach the cosmic side and other worlds. And here's a really interesting thing that he said, two very interesting parts of this. One, he says that they've been very inspired by Trek, Star Trek. And he says, that's why we hired Terry to do Vision Quest with us. So this is an interview for Agatha All Along, which is coming out in a few weeks. And the interview was probably done a week or so ago. So it's very fresh. And Brad just dropped the name Vision Quest. So that is most likely the name for the Vision series that we are going to get, which is the name that we were throwing around at first. So although that is still currently untitled, we just had the head of Marvel Streaming say Vision Quest. And again, he's in charge of all the Disney Plus shows, so that is most likely the official name for the show. Either he let it slip, or he thought we all knew it, or he's trolling us. But we all thought it was going to be Vision Quest, and that seems to be what everybody was referring to it anyway, so I'm going with that. But he continues to specifically talk about the Nova series being developed. He says the Nova series that is being developed right now, it's an amazing ensemble piece.
But you know, the Nova that's being developed right now, it is really like it's an amazing ensemble piece. I shouldn't say too much.
So an ensemble piece, that means that other characters are going to be showing up in this, and probably characters that we know. He says he shouldn't say too much, but it's a great cast of characters, and that it's got shades of Star Trek, shades of Battlestar Galactica. But he also says that if you know Richard Rider, you know how heated that world can get, so it has shades of that as well. And that is the interview. But what do you think Brad means when he says it's going to be an ensemble cosmic series? The two different characters / teams that come to my mind, again, are Captain Marvel and the new Guardians of the Galaxy. For the MCU, when I hear cosmic, currently right now, I do think of Captain Marvel and the Guardians of the Galaxy. A little bit of Thor as well, but since Thor is most likely getting his own movie for Thor 5, I don't think he'll show up in this. I would love it, but I don't really think so. However, since we just recently got the Marvels and we got Guardians of the Galaxy 3 not too long ago, it would make sense that these two franchises won't get their own film again before Doomsday or before Secret Wars. However, we know both parties are going to be involved. With everything that's about to happen, Captain Marvel is supposedly, right now, according to some insiders, searching for Monica Rambeau somewhere in the universe, or figuring out a way to get to a different universe to find her. Perhaps she goes to what's left of the Nova Corps and asks for help on Xandar. From there, she might go to nowhere and run into the new Guardians of the Galaxy team. I think this would be a really great way to get these characters involved before we go into Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and it also would be a really great way for Nova to get brought into Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, because he hasn't been in it yet. Obviously, we don't have the series, but Nova is not yet a character in the MCU. But if he interacts with Captain Marvel and he helps her, or possibly just interacts with the Guardians of the Galaxy on his own, then that brings him into it. And it would make sense that the Guardians themselves would go to Xandar. It was a very dear place to them because they fought Ronan to save it. However, Thanos ended up decimating it, but I'm sure the Nova series will pick up on that and tell us exactly what happened. In the comics, they do restore basically the entire civilization, so maybe something like that happens in the MCU. But go ahead, leave us with your thoughts on how all of this could go down in the comments down below, and let us know how excited you are to finally get Richard Rider in the MCU. Please leave your thoughts in the comments. Please like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you want to stay up to date on the MCU. And you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.